as we move on to Division 2, we welcome a special guest to EDFL Web TV this week, the Moonee Valley coach, Charlie Fenech. Charlie, welcome to EDFL Web TV.
Thanks very much, Teo.
We're going to jump into all the results from Division 2, and we'll start with your club, Moonee Valley, losing to Roxburgh Park by 10 points at the weekend. Jacana beaten by Keilor Park by 40. East Keilor a comfortable winner against East Sunbury, as were Coburg Districts against Burnside Heights. But let's start with your match. Not the result you wanted, a bit of a measuring stick sort of a game, I imagine, against this Roxburgh Parks team that's come out and started the season with 4 wins from 4. Where do you think it leaves your side after the 10-point defeat?
Well, look, unfortunately not winning on Saturday was a bit of a disappointment, but all in all, we played probably not up to our best potential. We had a lot of players who were just in and out of the game. Credit to Roxburgh Park, they ended up winning the game, but all in all, I think we can take a lot of positives out of it. We're still getting to know each other. I'm still getting to know the players also. But I just think that where we were starting to get on top in the third quarter, our bigger boys were taking marks in Dom in the ruck and also Reece Gleisner. And I honestly thought at three-quarter time in my own heart that we would win the game. But unfortunately, the rain came in the last quarter. It didn't stop raining, and we're not going to blame the rain, but we just could not get the ball out in the open. And credit to Roxburgh Park for holding on the way they did.
Charlie, look, Roxy have been a bit of a surprise packet this year. They've been very, very good. They're on top of the ladder as we speak. What sort of impression did they make on you and your team?
Well, look, they've obviously got a pretty good coach, and I understand he's brought a fair few players from the northern region with him. They've got a hell of a lot of new players also in the side. They've got a lot of youth also. A very good full forward who unfortunately kicked 6 goals on the day, and maybe he was a little bit of the difference on the day. But yeah, no, look, they're a good side. Admittedly, I'd like to see them maybe on a dry track against us, where the ball can move up and down the ground a little bit more better. But yeah, look, I'm sure they'll be there when the right time of the season comes on.
Moving on from the weekend game, let's talk about some of the leading players for your side. I've noticed a lot of familiar names. Musti Hamoud has made a brilliant start to the season, but guys like Dom Spagnolo, Sam O'Brien and Reece Gleisner, who you mentioned just before, have all appeared in your best on regular occasions. Tell us about each of those players, but particularly Musti Hamoud, who seems to be kicking a lot of goals as well as featuring prominently in the best week to week. Sure,
look, Musti, I know Musti going back a few years now from the EDFL squad. When I was coaching the EDFL squad, and funnily enough, he didn't make my EDFL squad that particular year, but I've also known Musti through the Northern Bulllands amateur sides, which started 2 years ago. He was in the under 17 side there, and just to give you a bit of an indication of what sort of player he is, he actually won the best and fairest in the comp last year in the under 18 amateur side for the Northern Blues, and also played off in the grand final for their senior side and won the medal for best on the ground in their grand final win.
And what about some of the other thoughts about juniors coming through the ranks, or some of the players you've had to turn to get your best 22 together? It's familiar names in the best week in, week out, but what about, say, guys 16 to 22, the guys that are really fighting for selection week in, week out? What are some of the names who've appeared there, and who are some of the kids you've given a first game to this season?
Well, look, we... as far as young kids going, we're looking really good. Our under-18 side, they remain undefeated at this stage. They play Strathmore, who are also undefeated on this coming Saturday, so that'll be a good little test for them. Our reserves are second on the ladder at the moment, and as far as our juniors go, we've already tried 3 juniors under-18s in our senior side. We've got Taylor Gorey, who's come from Keilor, who is the leading goal kicker in the under-18 competition at the moment. We've also got Tyson Edwards, who's already played 2 games of senior football. Braden Padmore, who was selected to be part of the senior EDFL squad. He's only 17, so He showed a fair bit of ability last year, and he played off in the grand final on the senior side last year. And there's also about 2 or 3 other young guys in the under-18 side who we will definitely be giving games to in the senior team this coming season.
Charlie, you guys are going okay at the moment, 2-2. Certainly an okay start to the year. You're in the top 4 where you want to be at this early stage. How do you want to go about the next couple of weeks of footy? You've got East Sunbury and then a couple of tough games against Coburg Districts and East Keilor coming up as well. Throw in Jacana there as well. How are you feeling about what's coming up for you guys?
Well, look, the Coburg Districts game is definitely going to be a big game for us. That's an important game probably to both teams, but we will be making that game as one of our major games that we want to win. All the guys will be up for that particular game. You know, from what we have available and what players we've got coming back and so on, coming up against Coburg District should be a pretty good game, and yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see what happens there. But it's an important game for both sides.
And one last question from me, Charlie. In the TAC Cup at the moment, there's a player who came through the ranks at Moonee Valley called Peter Wright. Now, I've seen him play for the Calder Cannons a couple of times. The mainstream media is starting to get a hold of him and talk about him as a top prospect. What are your impressions of him as a footballer, and what are your hopes for the rest of the TAC Cup season? And I suppose if the Cannons were to be knocked out of the finals early or even miss the 8, it's not looking likely at the moment, but how much would you like to get him back into your senior side just for maybe one last hurrah before he heads off to the AFL?
Well, look, there's big things on for Peter. He's obviously been called as far as up as a number 1 draft pick, most likely later on in the year. It'd be fantastic to have him come back and play for us. But look, he's a fantastic player, a big lad also. And there's another young guy in the team also, young O'Brien too, who played a pretty good game on Saturday. His brother Sam plays for us, and he's another likely prospect too, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get picked up towards the end of the season also. But it'd be great to have those 2 guys come back, yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best for the rest of the Division 2 season, Charlie. Thank you for joining us on EDFL Web TV. All the best against East Sunbury and for those upcoming games in the next month or so. And we look forward to checking in with you again, whether it's on the radio show or on EDFL Web TV. Thanks for joining us at the Sporting Globe today.
Thanks, Teo. Thanks, Adam. You're doing a fantastic job.
Well, that's it for the wash-up. Stay with us as we move on to our match breakdown. You're watching EDFL Web TV.